You just have to effing breathe. Breath and accountability outside of yourself, right? How many times a day do you intentionally stop and take 4 deep breaths? How many times a day, every hour, do you do fill my body with the thing that gives me life, right? It's the one thing that I take for granted every day, but the moment I don't have it, I wish I had another one. Mm-hmm. Right? It's our oxygen is our fuel. It's what's there, but it also is actually what fills your body with life and gives you clarity. And I'm not joking. Breath work is at the secret of everything. And it's not like I have to do Wim Hof or Transcendental. You just have to effing breathe.
Yeah.
Because when we talk, we don't breathe. We're talking. We're not even taking a breath. It's like 30 to 35% of our breath. You have to breathe. And that breathing brings you into the present and gives you space. And so when you think about it, if you're like, this isn't, or I'm distracting, or I'm procrastinating, in that moment, take a breath and be like, where's this coming from? And then at the other side of that breath, you have 2 choices. You either knowingly keep procrastinating or you knowingly do something different. I don't care which one you do. I just care that you're honest with yourself while you do it. Because there are plenty of times where I'm like, I'm distracting myself. Yep, that's what I want to do right now. And I have to own it, but I have to own it without beating myself up or doing it. So I put a container around it. I'll set a timer on my phone. I'm like, fine, you want to play that game? 20 minutes, go. And I'll set a timer on my phone and I'll say, well, as soon as the timer's done, I have to go do X, or I get to go do Y, or I get to go do boom. So that's number 1. Number 2 is accountability, who somebody sees you at your potential, not at your current state. Mine is my wife. I'm going to tell you right now, I can tell how clear and how aligned I am when my wife says, what's on your agenda today? And one of 2 things happens in my body. 1 is I clearly say what I'm doing, or 2, I start to make up things that I'm doing because I need to sound busy.
Yeah.
And it's always one of the 2. Right.
Yeah.
And so then I'll I'm like, hey, babe, I actually don't know. I'm having a little bit of anxiety and a lack of clarity right now. These are the things I have to get done. I can't answer that question right now. She's like, all right, go have fun handling that stuff. Right. Yeah. And so, but it's having somebody like the 2 of you, like you 2 know each other better than anybody could probably know each other. Right. And you can tell from a mile away when you're distracting, when you're off, when you're there. And it's not your job to bring the other one back. It's your job just to hold space and see them at their potential. And so like, hey, man, right? Or check in. And so what I do is if I find myself off or I find myself there at that breath, I'll text somebody. I'll text my wife. I'll text my COO. I'll text my CEO. I'm like, hey, I don't need you to respond. I just got to get this out. And I'll off gas it. And then I'm like, it happened yesterday. I was like yelling at the phone. I was like, Jay, and then I was done. And a half an hour later, I recorded like 3 fire videos that like came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, I think what really boils down to is being really honest and integrous with ourselves, right? I know when I'm distracting. I know when I'm procrastinating. I know when I'm doing minimum wage activities. The moment I own it and I acknowledge it is when I'm in a position to do it differently. But every time I deny it and I justify it, I'm allowing myself to continue. And my buddy Jim Quick said this on the podcast. You probably listened to that episode. You can't get mad at results you don't have from work you didn't do.